Every project that I've ever been involved with, the really interesting ones, we had no idea if we could do it because it's never been done before. I mean, think about it. People come to companies like Digital Domain and say, I want to see something that no one has ever seen before. By the way, you got 6 months to do it and $5 million. Do it.
As one of the largest digital production studios in the world, Digital Domain provides a highly specialized service. They help directors bring their creative visions to the big screen.
You come to Digital Domain for the sinking of the Titanic. You come to Digital Domain for, that sequence in Lord of the Rings where the waves come up and wash out all of those horsemen. You come to us for that very special piece of visual imagery that really can't be done any other place.
We never make the same thing twice.
This is one of the Apollo capsules that we used on Apollo 13.
Even if you were presented with the same movie to make that you did 2 or 3 years ago, your approach would be radically different just because of the new tools and techniques that are available.
So how does a company that never makes the same thing twice plan for its future with respect to finances, materials, and personnel? The answer lies in their careful approach to operations management. Digital Domain is a manufacturer in that it creates state-of-the-art special effects, yet it is also a service provider in that it advises the filmmakers during each step of the process.
Oftentimes the filmmakers don't know what's possible and don't know what our latest capabilities are. So often part of the bidding process is figuring out what in the script needs to be visual effects.
Let's take a look at some of the operations management functions that are common to both the manufacturing and service sector.
You got to get in the petri dish. As nasty as it might sound, if you want to make automobiles, you better live in Detroit in the United States. And if you want to make movies, you better live in Los Angeles.
The first thing that we do is to look for artists locally. That's the easiest course of action. Not that we want to take the easiest route, but there's a lot of production experienced people in Los Angeles. And then we branch out. We may go from Los Angeles out and expand through the U.S. and continue to look overseas. The artists that we find internationally are terrific additions to our domestic talent pool.
Digital Domain boasts a very clean and logical layout.
This is our art department over here, and here's our...
The raw industrial design gives it a communal atmosphere, much like an artist's loft. The conference room, nicknamed the Whale, also doubles as a late-night cafeteria for many of the artists and designers that tend to work odd hours. Overall, the design layout seems to be geared toward the company's most valuable resource, its employees.
I think Digital Domain's reputation in Hollywood is mostly based on quality, and it's something that we strive for above all else.
One of the things we had to do for Oh Brother was run a cow over with a police car.
Come on, you miserable salary tender! Coming with me!
And they were showing the film to the Humane Association to get their disclaimer at the end. After viewing it 10 more times, they told the producers that they didn't believe them and that they wanted to see proof that it was in fact a digital cow. And they actually added a line to their disclaimer at the end of the film, something to the effect of scenes of animals in peril are in fact simulated. So that was, we wear that as a badge of honor, that they had to add a line to their disclaimer for our cow.
Materials requirement planning is a computer-based operations management system that uses sales forecasts to make sure that needed parts and materials are available at the right time and place. In Digital Domain's case, their most important inventory is their employees.
Digital Domain is a company of about 300 to 500 employees. We expand based on the number of projects that we have in-house. We have about 54 different disciplines that we categorize our incoming candidates into, and we are constantly looking at our database and at the demo reels in our storage facility to fulfill our needs.
There have been 7 major developments which have radically changed the production process in the United States. Let's take a look at which apply to the processes at Digital Domain.
Everything we do is just in time and sometimes not quite in time, but we definitely ramp up. We have a core group of people that are our staff employees that are here project after project, and then depending on how busy we are, how big a project or projects we're working on are, we hire what we call project staff.
Production needs are variable, and they cannot be determined in advance. We are responding very quickly. On a weekly basis, we may need, on Wednesday, to have 20 people in the door on Monday, and the only way you can be successful at that is to have a continuous goal of establishing and developing relationships and getting to know people.
A company becomes lean by continuously increasing its capacity to produce high-quality goods while decreasing its need for resources.
Pre-visualization, the ability to be able to now see moving storyboards. So in the past we would just look at a storyboard, but now using really, sort of low-end computer graphics capability, we can deal with time.
We did do Fight Club. We did do the airplane scene, yeah. We did the airplane scene, and we did the opening sort of fly through the brain, out the pore, up the gun,
So now we know how quickly the camera has to move from point A to point B, and then when we're out on a set, which could be, first unit or second unit, we just take that data and feed it into our motion control cameras, for example, and it just plays, and we do a whole bunch of pre-production so that when we're in production, we sort of contain our costs.
Mass customization means tailoring products to meet the needs of individual customers.
A good example is Titanic, where for the first time we had to create realistic-looking digital water. This next time around, it's much simpler. It's like, well, we just do what we did on Titanic. And that's not to say the technology stands still and doesn't get better, but at least we're not starting from scratch. So that happens all the time. Every project has new things that we've never done before, and when the project is complete, we now have another tool in our belt.
Computer-aided design and manufacturing is obviously a key component to Digital Domain's process. Ironically, because film and high-end rendering is expensive, they often start with the most basic of tools.
You try to do as much work as you possibly can without shooting any film. So one needs to approach it in the most cost-effective way, which is generally pen and paper, or ink and pen and paper, and paint and ink and pen and paper,
Control procedures such as PERT and Gantt charts help managers to deliver products on time and on budget. Because they work on so many projects simultaneously, Digital Domain relies on a computerized production tracking system,
where we know at any given time, from a financial point of view, where we are on a given shot, a given element, based upon what our budget was. We know at any given time where that element is, what the estimate for completion is on that element, both time and money, and it's available through a very sophisticated Oracle-based database. Another issue is you have to manage your own creative people, because your creative people have a desire to want to be able to put as much as they can on the screen and deliver the best possible image to the director. The problem is, because we're on a fixed contract basis, that can't go on forever. As I say to some of my artists, if you wanted to create fine art, cut off your ear and go eat cadmium yellow paint and live in the south of France. This is called show business. And so there's that business part. And so we have to also maintain and manage the expectations of our own creative people.
Operations management has played a key role in Digital Domain's ability to become one of the top players in Hollywood.
We do whatever we can to make sure something that has the Digital Domain name on it is something that we'll be proud of for years to come.
The success they have achieved working on legendary films reminds them of what they love most about their work.
Probably the one that sticks out the most is the day we won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects for Titanic. I want to be involved with themes and ideas and concepts that make people think and make people laugh and make people cry.